The terrifying story begins with a vast ocean, where a giant creature was roaming fearlessly. No one knew about this dangerous creature, and it had never been discovered before. However, after that moment, the creature vanished somewhere into the ocean. The scene then shifts to several years later, where two researchers, James and Ramon, are working on their research. They had a digger machine that explored the ocean floor, uncovering various things. They controlled the machine and documented everything with cameras. Interestingly, James and Ramon were conducting their research in the same ocean where the dangerous creature had once been sighted. Unaware of this, they were about to face a significant challenge. James and Ramon worked for a wealthy businessman named Ferd, who owned several companies specializing in underwater research. Ferd's company was famous for its exploration techniques, discovering precious items and unique marine animals from the ocean depths. These discoveries earned the company significant profits. At the time, Ferd was giving an interview in a wooden house near the shore. The interviewer asked him numerous questions, including those about the underwater world his companies had explored. She also inquired about the dangerous creature that had been seen years ago, asking how likely it was to encounter it again. Ferd, having no specific information about it, avoided saying much. The scene shifts back to James and Ramon, who were still conducting their research. As they controlled their digger on the ocean floor, they noticed something strange. Zooming in, they realized it was a massive underwater volcano that seemed to have completely submerged. Ramon, observing the volcano's build materials, was astonished because it was made of a rare fiber that fetched a high price on the black market. She believed Ferd would definitely want to continue this mission if informed about the discovery. Ramon wanted to explore further, but James disagreed, cautioning that advancing without studying the structure could damage their machines. Unfortunately, Ramon was unwilling to listen to James. Because of her persistence, James had no choice but to move forward as well. As they directed their digger toward the strange structure, there was sudden movement ahead. It was an unusual disturbance that completely engulfed their digger. The digger malfunctioned, and its camera feed was interrupted, leaving James and Ramon unable to see anything. This setback deeply upset both of them, as their digger was no longer operational. Meanwhile, their boss, Ferd, was preparing to showcase their progress to investors via mobile footage, highlighting how well the digger was performing underwater. However, when Ferd asked James and Ramon to show the videos, they regretfully explained that they could not. They informed him that their digger had lost signal after encountering a strange structure, leaving everything blank. Ferd was furious. He abruptly ended the interview, frustrated by the mystery of what could have damaged their digger in the ocean. He reasoned that, typically, marine creatures like whales avoid human-made machines due to the sound waves they emit to deter underwater animals. Determined to find out what was in the ocean causing such problems, Ferd decided to accompany James and Ramon to investigate further. As they were preparing to board a boat for the mission, a government agent named Sarah approached them. Sarah informed Ferd that she had been sent by the government authorities to conduct an investigation. She wanted to ensure that Ferd's exploration and business operations complied with all rules and regulations. If they didn't, his license would be cancelled. Ferd, attempting to resolve the situation, offered Sarah a significant bribe, but she firmly refused. Instead, she insisted on joining the mission to conduct her investigation firsthand. With no other choice, Ferd agreed to let Sarah accompany them alongside James and Ramon on the mission. The team traveled continuously by boat to the location where they had last received a signal from their digger. Ferd and his team used various advanced machinery to scan the ocean floor and track the digger's signals. At the site, they detected the presence of a massive underwater volcano, but there was still no trace of their digger. Ferd was baffled, as he had never encountered such signals in his years of exploration, especially from a single underwater mountain that had been submerged for so long. James and Ramon were equally troubled by the mystery, but they knew they had to rescue the digger, otherwise, the loss would be severe. After a brief discussion and gathering all their resources, the team boarded a small submarine and headed toward the location of the signal. As they approached the volcano, they discovered that it was still active, capable of erupting at any moment. Ferd suggested using sound waves to send out signals and possibly locate the digger. However, as soon as they emitted the sound waves, something attacked their submarine. It was an enormous creature emerging from the ocean floor. Moments later, a view from above revealed the attacker, a massive and terrifying giant starfish that had been hiding in the depths of the ocean for years. The starfish was so colossal it could destroy an entire city in one go. Ferd and his team were panicking, as their submarine was now directly above the giant starfish. The creature surfaced and then stopped suddenly, its massive tentacles capable of taking anyone's life. The entire crew, including Ferd, was stunned and frightened, trying to comprehend what they were witnessing. At this moment, Sarah explained that these creatures had been seen before in the past. But here, the general was furious with Ferd, accusing his company of being responsible for creating the massive kaiju. Ferd tried to explain himself, but the general abruptly ended the call. Afterward, the team gathered outside the submarine to discuss how such a gigantic kaiju had survived underwater for so long. Ramon explained that the kaiju's immense size meant it likely consumed vast amounts of lava to sustain itself. She speculated that the kaiju's current location was near a volcano, and just on the other side of that mountain was a city. If the kaiju drained the entire lava reservoir and triggered an eruption, the city would be completely destroyed. The team needed to come up with a solution quickly to stop the kaiju. Ferd turned to Sarah, knowing she had extensive knowledge of kaijus. Sarah revealed that when she was in school, a teacher named Reina had given detailed lectures about these creatures. At the time, no one believed in the existence of kaijus, and Reina was dismissed from her position. However, Reina might have the knowledge needed to defeat the kaiju. Ferd wasted no time and called in a private helicopter. The team split up. Ferd, James, and Ramon headed back to the headquarters, while Sarah took the helicopter to find her old teacher. Reina lived in the middle of a remote mountainous region where resources were scarce. After many years, Sarah was overjoyed to reunite with her teacher and immediately asked her about the kaiju. Reina quickly understood the situation, even before Sarah could provide all the details. Reina showed Sarah pictures of the kaiju, which indeed resembled an enormous starfish. She began explaining the creature's unique characteristics, emphasizing its massive size and resilience. According to Reina, no conventional weapon would be effective against it. If anyone were to attack the kaiju, it would only provoke the creature further, making it even more dangerous. This kaiju thrives underwater and can only be defeated by the mountain kaiju, which, according to Reina, is currently dormant and believed to reside on Monster Island. Sarah grew worried that the starfish kaiju might attack them, but Reina reassured her. She explained that once the mountain kaiju awakens, it will instinctively sense the presence of the starfish kaiju and rush to defeat it. Reina began detailing the process to awaken the mountain kaiju. Sarah carefully noted everything down. Reina revealed that the mountain kaiju could only be found on Monster Island and could be awakened by pouring the blood of another kaiju into its eyes. This would trigger its awakening, and it would take on the task of defeating the other kaijus. With this information, Sarah now had a clear solution to the problem. Meanwhile, Ferd launched a specialized drone into the ocean, capable of traveling vast distances. With James's assistance, the drone was maneuvered close to the starfish kaiju to study its body structure. Through the drone's camera, they observed the kaiju's massive and intimidating body, which seemed to be mutating further. As they analyzed the data, they discovered the kaiju's weakest point. They also realized it wasn't male but a female preparing to lay eggs. This made it even more urgent to eliminate the kaiju, as it could spawn multiple other kaijus. After retrieving the drone, Ferd became increasingly anxious but soon had an idea. He theorized that since the kaiju was lava-based, its body likely contained magnesium and other chemicals. He proposed introducing a reactive chemical into the kaiju's body that would cause the lava inside it to explode, thereby killing the creature. James and Ramon thought this plan was brilliant and agreed it could work. With a solution in hand, they began preparing to implement Ferd's plan, knowing it was a race against time before the kaiju could lay its eggs and unleash even more devastation. The team quickly began arranging the chemicals needed for Ferd's plan. Ferd decided to escalate the mission and called Hung, a high-ranking government official, to request permission to kill the kaiju. However, Hung firmly denied his request, stating that the military would handle the situation and warning Ferd that any action on his part would result in severe consequences. Ferd was unsure what to do but knew the kaiju had to be stopped. He decided to proceed against orders and brought in another drone, loading it with the necessary chemicals to kill the creature. The drone began injecting the chemicals into the kaiju's body. However, Hung became aware of Ferd's actions and realized he was defying regulations. Furious, Hung dispatched soldiers to arrest Ferd and his team. As the soldiers approached, Ferd acted quickly and fully injected the chemicals into the kaiju's body. Within moments, the kaiju began to thrash violently as its body reacted to the chemicals. It ultimately exploded and surfaced, lifeless. However, just when they thought the ordeal was over, the kaiju's body released eggs that scattered in all directions. Hung, furious at Ferd, shouted that he had made a grave mistake and would be held accountable for the fallout. Soldiers arrived to arrest Ferd and his team, but the situation rapidly escalated. From the scattered eggs, new creatures began hatching, monstrous dragons that could breathe fire capable of incinerating anything in their path. The dragons quickly spread, wreaking havoc in the nearby city, killing countless people. As the military tried to transport Ferd and his team in a jeep, one of the dragons blocked their path. The soldiers attempted to fight it off with their weapons, but the dragon unleashed a torrent of flames, killing several soldiers on the spot. A female soldier, realizing the dire situation, instructed Ferd and the others to escape into a nearby tunnel for safety. Meanwhile, chaos erupted across the city as the dragons continued their rampage, leaving destruction in their wake. As Ferd, Ramon, and James tried to enter the tunnel, a dragon attacked from behind, breathing fire ferociously. Tragically, James was caught in the flames and killed. Ferd and Ramon managed to escape into the tunnel and fled to the other side, where, thankfully, no creatures or kaijus were present. At this point, Sarah entered the scene and informed Ferd and Ramon that she had discovered a way to kill all the creatures and the kaiju. However, she warned them it would require immense effort. Ferd, anxious about the plan, asked Sarah and Reina if it would really work. He expressed his concern that if the mountain kaiju attacked them instead, they wouldn't survive. Reina reassured them, explaining that the mountain kaiju had existed on Earth for millions of years and was the same creature responsible for wiping out the dinosaurs. It was a protector of the planet and would not harm humans. With renewed hope, the group boarded a helicopter and headed toward Monster Island, where the mountain kaiju was said to reside. Meanwhile, the newly hatched dragons continued flying toward a volcano that was about to erupt. This volcano was near a city, and if the lava spilled out, the city would be completely destroyed. The Air Force was engaged in a desperate battle, attacking the dragons in an attempt to stop them. However, the dragons retaliated, destroying helicopters and accelerating the volcano's eruption by digging into its surface to release lava, which they fed on for strength. On the other hand, Ferd, Sarah, Ramon, and Reina continued their journey toward Monster Island. They knew they needed kaiju blood to awaken the mountain kaiju. While en route, they spotted a kaiju egg. Acting quickly, they secured the egg to their helicopter and resumed their journey. However, they were puzzled about how to break the egg, as its shell was incredibly tough. Ramon suggested using advanced tools from their headquarters to crack the egg without damaging the blood inside. With time running out and the fate of the city and the world hanging in the balance, the team had to work fast to ensure their plan to awaken the mountain kaiju would succeed. Sarah suggested a clever plan to break the egg. They should heat it using lava and then submerge it in cold water. Everyone agreed, and they quickly carried the egg to a mountain, using lava to heat it to the required temperature. Once the egg was sufficiently heated, they submerged it in water. Suddenly, the egg cracked open, but instead of the intended result, an unhealthy, partially evolved dragon emerged. Despite its incomplete evolution, the dragon was still powerful. It immediately attacked the helicopter, damaging it severely and eventually destroying it. The team had no choice but to jump into the ocean to save themselves. They swam to shore, but the helicopter pilot was burned to ash by the dragon. Ferd and the rest managed to reach a rocky area to protect themselves from the creature. Even though the dragon was not fully evolved, it possessed immense strength. However, the team knew they had to obtain its blood to awaken the mountain kaiju. They quickly devised a plan to distract the dragon, luring it into a rocky cave. The dragon began spewing lava from its mouth in an attempt to burn them alive. Just then, the ground started shaking violently. It was as if the entire cave was part of a larger entity. Unbeknownst to them, the dragon's lava, which contained its blood, had seeped into the massive structure of the mountain kaiju. The ancient creature began to awaken. The plan had worked. Sarah shouted for everyone to escape immediately. Ferd helped the group get out of the cave, but in the process, he slipped and fell into a pile of rocks. As the others made it out safely, they turned to see the massive mountain kaiju emerging before them. This ancient protector was colossal, its body covered in layers of rock and stone, giving it an indestructible appearance. Sarah and the others rushed back to save Ferd while the mountain kaiju began eliminating the dragons that were wreaking havoc on humanity. Meanwhile, deep in the ocean, the giant starfish kaiju, which everyone assumed was dead, seemed to stir slightly, hinting that the battle was far from over. Suddenly, the starfish kaiju regained life and, in its evolved form, flew directly to the mountain kaiju. It latched onto the mountain kaiju's body, using its powerful tentacles to crush it. Despite the mountain kaiju's immense strength, the kaiju's relentless attacks left it with no chance to counterattack. If the mountain kaiju were defeated, there would be no one left to protect humanity. Reina then suggested that if they could pour the dragon's lava back into the mountain kaiju's eye, it might boost its powers. Acting quickly, Ferd and Sarah used a spear coated with lava and carefully aimed for the mountain kaiju's eye. The spear struck perfectly. Immediately, a powerful reaction began within the mountain kaiju, as though it was being filled with double the energy. Gathering all its strength, the mountain kaiju unleashed its full power and viciously defeated the starfish kaiju. A massive explosion followed, spreading shockwaves everywhere. The starfish kaiju was finally destroyed, but the mountain kaiju also succumbed to the intense battle. Humanity's protector was gone. As Ferd and the others moved to safety, they noticed something incredible, a giant egg left by the mountain kaiju. It turned out the mountain kaiju was a female, and this egg carried her legacy. Ferd promised his team that no matter what, they would protect this egg. Just as the mountain kaiju had fought to save humanity, they would ensure its offspring would grow up to protect the Earth. Ferd also warned that countless other kaijus might still be lurking in the ocean, waiting to attack in the future. This realization led Ferd to decide that they would dedicate themselves to nurturing and safeguarding the new mountain kaiju for humanity's protection. And with that, our story comes to an end.